The galaxy believed humans were young, emotional, and easy to control. Many powerful species sat inside the shining chamber of the Galactic Council and spoke about peace, balance, and order. They used beautiful words. They smiled often. But behind those smiles, fear was growing. Humanity was rising too fast. In the center of the chamber, a blue image of Earth slowly rotated. Around it stood tall alien leaders with glowing eyes and metal-like skin. One of them spoke in a calm voice. Humanity has violated galactic law. They have built restricted weapons in secret. The room became silent. Cameras recorded everything. Across the galaxy, planets watched the broadcast. The message was clear: Earth could not be trusted. But on Earth, inside a quiet command room deep beneath the ocean, human leaders watched the same broadcast. No one shouted. No one panicked. They only listened. The president of Earth folded his hands and said softly, "So they finally decided to move." Next to him, a young intelligence officer looked confused. "Sir, we never broke any galactic law." The president nodded. "Of course we didn't." The truth was simple. Humanity had not built illegal weapons. They had built defensive fleets after noticing strange movements near their borders. For years, human scientists had detected hidden council probes watching Earth. Trade routes had slowly shifted away from human systems. Friendly species had stopped answering calls. Humans had seen the pattern. Back in the council chamber, another alien leader raised its voice. "We demand immediate surrender of all advanced military assets. Earth will submit to inspection within 48 standard hours." Gasps filled the chamber. The decision was sudden and harsh. It felt planned. A human diplomat stood alone on a small platform inside that massive alien hall. He looked small compared to the others. He did not shout. He did not argue. He simply said, "May I speak?" The council allowed it, expecting fear. The human diplomat looked around the chamber slowly. "Humanity respects galactic law. We always have. But we also respect truth." Some council members shifted uncomfortably. Then the human continued, 3 years ago, a private meeting was held between 5 council elders. In that meeting, Earth was labeled as a future threat to resource stability. The chamber froze. The diplomat pressed a small device. A recording echoed across the hall. Alien voices filled the air. "Human expansion must be slowed. They will control too many trade routes. We must create a reason to limit them." Shock spread through the chamber. Some alien representatives stared at the elders in disbelief. The recording ended. The human diplomat spoke one last sentence. "We know about the lie." Without warning, the council cut the transmission. The human's image vanished. The official broadcast ended across the galaxy. News channels suddenly displayed one message. Emergency session concluded. Communication with Earth temporarily suspended. In deep space, near the edge of the solar system, a massive alien fleet powered its engines. Warships moved into position around Earth's outer orbit. Weapons charged quietly. The council believed they had acted quickly enough. They believed humans were isolated now. But inside hidden shipyards near Jupiter, lights turned on. Large structures moved in silence. Ships that once looked like simple cargo carriers opened their outer panels, revealing armored hulls beneath. Engines warmed up. Docking clamps released. Human commanders stood calmly on their bridges. One officer looked at a screen showing the approaching alien fleet. "They think we are alone." The fleet admiral replied, "They think we are unprepared." Earth's satellites shifted positions. Defense platforms activated. Signals moved through secret channels across the solar system. Back in the council chamber, one elder whispered nervously, "They were not supposed to have that recording." Another replied, "It does not matter." Once they are surrounded, they will surrender. Far away, on the dark side of the moon, something moved. A shadow separated from the surface. Then another. Then dozens more. Hidden human warships slowly rose into space, silent and ready. On Earth, the president watched the screen and gave a simple order. Release Phase 1. Across the galaxy, long-range sensors began to detect something unexpected. Energy readings. Fleet formations. Organized movement. The Council had planned to scare humanity into submission. Instead, they had forced humanity to reveal its hand. And humanity was not afraid. Across the galaxy, the news spread fast. Earth has been surrounded. The Council will bring humanity under control. Many alien worlds believed the story. They trusted the Council. They thought humans would panic, argue, and finally surrender. But inside the human fleet, there was only discipline. Admiral Reyes stood on the bridge of the flagship TSV Resolute. The ship floated in silence behind the moon, hidden from direct scans. Around it, dozens of Terran vessels held perfect formation. Status report, he said calmly. Outer defense grid active. Jupiter shipyards fully operational. Deep space relay secured. Everything was ready. Years before this moment, humanity had noticed small changes. Council patrol ships stayed longer near human space. Trade permissions became slower. Mining rights were suddenly questioned. At first, humans stayed quiet. They studied. They collected data. And when they realized the truth, they did not protest. They prepared. Back in the present, alien warships formed a tight circle around Earth. Massive cannons aimed at the planet. Fighters patrolled in waves. The message was clear: surrender or be crushed. A young alien officer aboard the Council cruiser Valor watched Earth closely. He expected to see chaos. Instead, he saw normal traffic. Civilian ships moved calmly between stations. No emergency broadcasts. No military rush. That is strange, he whispered. His commander narrowed his glowing eyes. Humans are emotional. They are afraid. They just hide it. But deep inside the solar system, something changed. Mining stations around Saturn shifted position. Asteroid facilities activated long-unused thrusters. What looked like normal industrial platforms slowly aligned into defensive shapes. The alien officer's scanner flickered. Commander. I'm detecting energy spikes near Jupiter. Probably civilian reactors. But they were not civilian reactors. Hidden beneath layers of metal and dust, entire fleets powered up. Human engineers had spent years building ships that looked harmless. Cargo haulers with reinforced cores. Research vessels with hidden weapon bays. Even old exploration ships redesigned for combat support. They were never meant to attack. They were meant to survive. On Earth, underground command centers came alive. Massive screens showed every alien ship in orbit. Human AI systems calculated movements in real time. Admiral Reyes gave the next order. Activate the mirror protocol. Across space, dozens of human satellites changed frequency. They released false signals and ghost images. Alien scanners began showing confusing readings. Phantom fleets appeared and vanished. Inside the Council cruiser, alarms rang. Multiple unknown contacts detected. Range? Uncertain, they keep shifting. The commander felt something new. Uncertainty. Suddenly, from behind the moon, the first Terran battle group emerged. Sleek. Silent. Organized. They did not charge forward. They simply took position. Then another group appeared near Mars. Then near Jupiter. Within minutes, hundreds of human ships formed a defensive wall around the inner system. The alien officer stared at the screen. His voice shook. They were building a fleet this whole time. The commander's jaw tightened. Impossible. The council monitors all major military production. But that was the mistake. Humans never built major military production. They built quietly. Slowly. Patiently. The council had been watching for large war factories. They never looked at small shipyards. They never questioned mining stations. They never imagined that a species once called young could think long-term. Back on the Resolute, Admiral Reyes sent a secure message directly to the council chamber. The transmission forced its way through blocked channels. The hologram of the Admiral appeared in front of the council elders. "You accused us of breaking galactic law," he said in a steady voice. "You surrounded our world." Behind him, Terran warships filled the background. "We did not seek conflict." He paused. "But we will not bow to lies." In orbit, alien fleets adjusted their weapons. Human fleets locked targeting systems. No one fired. The galaxy held its breath. On the council cruiser, the young alien officer whispered, "They are not afraid." For the first time, the commander did not answer. Far beyond Pluto, in deep darkness where no one expected activity, a massive structure powered on. Its energy signature was unlike anything the council had recorded. And it belonged to humanity. The silent preparation was over. The first shot was not loud. It was precise. A thin beam of blue light flashed from a human cruiser near Mars. It did not explode. It did not destroy. It sliced cleanly through the engine core of a council battleship, shutting it down in seconds. The alien ship drifted helplessly in orbit. No fire. No debris. Just silence. Across the battlefield, confusion spread. They disabled us. How? Council commanders had expected chaos from humans. Wild attacks. Emotional reactions. Instead, they faced calm strategy. Admiral Reyes stood without moving as reports filled the bridge. Target 1 neutralized. Target 2 engines offline. Enemy formation breaking. Human ships moved like pieces on a board. Each action had purpose. Each strike removed power, weapons, or communication, but not lives. The council fleet returned fire. Heavy plasma cannons roared toward the Terran line. Space lit up with bright explosions. Human shields absorbed the first wave. Some ships took damage. But none fell out of formation. On the council cruiser Valor, the young alien officer stared at his console. "Their ships are predicting our attack paths." That was true. For years, human analysts had studied every recorded council battle. Every species had patterns. Certain commanders favored aggression. Others protected their flanks too long. Human AI systems learned these habits. Now they used them. When a council destroyer attempted a flanking move, 3 Terran frigates were already waiting. They trapped it inside a web of electromagnetic pulses. Its weapons shut down instantly. Another battleship charged forward in anger. A human cruiser rotated slightly and released a gravity net. The massive alien ship slowed as if trapped in invisible chains. It was not destruction. It was control. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, panic spread among the elders. Live tactical feeds showed their fleet losing position. "They are not attacking like predators," one elder said in disbelief. "They are fighting like engineers," another replied quietly. Suddenly, an emergency message arrived. "Activate the Sun Spear." The chamber went silent. The Sun Spear was a secret weapon. A hidden orbital cannon placed years ago in deep space, designed as a final solution. It was powerful enough to crack a planet. It had never been revealed to the galaxy. Deep in space, far beyond Neptune, a massive structure shifted. Energy built along its core. The weapon aligned toward Earth. If fired, it would end everything. On the bridge of the Resolute, alarms flashed. Unidentified energy surge detected. Origin. Outer system, unknown platform. Admiral Reyes watched the readings carefully. Then he gave a calm order. Initiate eclipse. Moments later, the Sun Spear's systems flickered. Its targeting array glitched. Power levels dropped suddenly. On the weapon platform, alien technicians shouted in panic. Control systems overridden. By who? The answer appeared on their screens. Terran coding. Years earlier, human deep space probes had found the hidden structure. They had studied it quietly. And they had left something behind. A door. When the Council activated the Sun Spear, humanity opened that door. The weapon shut down completely. Back in the Council chamber, elders stared at one another in fear. They knew about it. They have known for years. In orbit around Earth, the battle slowed. Council ships drifted damaged but alive. Human fleets held steady, weapons charged but restrained. Then something unexpected happened. Across the galaxy, long-range communications flickered. Human signals spread through public channels. Footage of the secret council meeting. Evidence of lies. Proof of the Sun Spear. World after world watched the truth. Trade planets. Outer colonies. Even species loyal to the Council. Silence replaced celebration. On the Valor, the young alien officer lowered his hands from the console. They were never the threat, he whispered. Around Earth, the battlefield grew quiet. No explosions. No shouting. Just fleets facing one another in open space. For the first time in centuries, the Galactic Council was exposed. And for the first time since joining the stars, humanity was no longer being judged. They were being respected. The galaxy did not cheer. It did not speak. It simply watched. And listened. Because the balance of power had just changed forever. The battle did not end with fire. It ended with silence. Disabled Council ships floated helplessly around Earth. Human fleets held position, weapons still locked but unmoving. No final strike came. Across the galaxy, millions watched live transmissions. They had expected destruction. Instead, they saw control. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, panic slowly turned into fear. They have our fleets surrounded. They have exposed our private meeting. They shut down the Sun Spear. One elder spoke the words no one wanted to say. We have lost authority. Because that was the real damage. Not ships. Not weapons. Authority. On Earth, Admiral Reyes received a secure transmission from the President. Proceed to Phase 2. The Admiral nodded. Human fleets began moving, not toward Earth, but away from it. Council commanders blinked in confusion. They are retreating. No, the young alien officer aboard the Valor whispered. They are repositioning. Terran fleets jumped into faster-than-light travel, vanishing in bright flashes. Hours later, they reappeared somewhere unexpected. Above the capital world of the Galactic Council. The planet was beautiful. Covered in shining cities and golden towers. It had never known invasion. Until now. Hundreds of Terran ships formed a perfect circle around the world. Defensive. Controlled. Not firing. Panic spread through the Council's home system. Civilian traffic froze. Defense grids activated too late. Human ships were already in place. Inside the Council chamber, alarms rang loudly. They are in our orbit. How did they cross our borders so fast? The truth was simple. Humans had mapped Council space long ago. Trade routes were open information. Hyperspace corridors were predictable. The Council had never believed humans would use that knowledge. A massive Terran flagship moved forward. Larger than any ship the Council had recorded before. It had been hidden deep in the solar system, its existence unknown. Now it stood above the Council capital like a quiet shadow. Admiral Reyes appeared as a hologram in the center of the Council chamber. The elders looked smaller than before. "We will not fire," the Admiral said calmly. "We will not harm civilians." One elder tried to regain control. "You dare threaten the seat of galactic order?" Reyes' expression did not change. "Order built on lies is not order." Behind him, screens across the galaxy displayed more files. Documents. Secret votes. Private messages discussing control of weaker species. Economic manipulation. Silent pressure campaigns. World after world began sending public statements. "We demand explanation. We request independent investigation. We suspend support of the Council." The power structure was breaking. On the Council capital, citizens looked up and saw Terran ships in the sky. But no weapons fired. No destruction came. Instead, a new broadcast filled every network. The President of Earth spoke. "For years, humanity worked for peaceful cooperation. We shared technology. We followed law. But when lies were used to control us, we defended ourselves." He paused, his voice steady. "We do not want to replace the Council." That sentence surprised everyone. "We want reform. Transparency. Fair law for all species." In orbit, Terran ships powered down their main cannons. It was not surrender. It was confidence. On the Veiler, the young alien officer watched everything with wide eyes. "They could destroy us," he said softly. His commander lowered his head. "Yes. But they choose not to." That choice changed everything. Back in the Council chamber, the elders whispered urgently. "If we refuse, they can dismantle our fleet. If we agree, we lose control." Another elder spoke quietly. "We already have." Outside the chamber, representatives from smaller species demanded entry. They wanted answers. They wanted voice. The Terran fleet remained perfectly still above the capital world. No threats. No countdown. Just presence. Admiral Reyes sent one final message to the chamber. "The galaxy is watching. Decide who you want to be." Hours passed. The tension grew heavy. Then, one by one, Council elders stepped forward and deactivated their command seals. Emergency authority dissolved. Temporary control was handed to a multi-species assembly. For the first time in centuries, the Council stood equal with the rest of the galaxy. Above the planet, Terran ships slowly began to withdraw. They had not conquered. They had forced truth into the light. And that was far more powerful. The galaxy expected celebration. Instead, there was quiet. The old Council seals were gone. Emergency powers were removed. A temporary multi-species assembly now guided galactic law. For the first time in centuries, smaller worlds had equal voice. And humanity? Humanity did not take the throne. Above the Council capital, the Terran fleet remained in orbit for 3 more days. Not as rulers. Not as conquerors. As witnesses. Admiral Reyes stood on the bridge of the flagship and watched reports from across the galaxy. Some worlds were afraid. Some were grateful. Some were uncertain. That was expected. Change always felt dangerous. On the Council capital, former elders were escorted from the central chamber. They were not imprisoned. They were not harmed. But they no longer commanded fleets or controlled hidden weapons. Investigations began. Records were opened. Trade agreements were reviewed. The secret Sun Spear platform was dismantled publicly. Its parts were broadcast live as they were taken apart piece by piece. Trust could not return in silence. It had to be rebuilt in light. On Earth, the president spoke again. Humanity never wanted dominance. We wanted fairness. The Council's mistake was not fear. It was deception. Those words spread through every system. The fatal mistake was never the fleet around Earth. It was the lie. On the Council cruiser Valor, the young alien officer received new orders. The fleet was to stand down and return home. He looked at Earth one last time on his screen. They could have destroyed us, he said quietly. His commander, no longer proud, nodded slowly. Yes. They could have. But they didn't. The commander took a deep breath. That is why they are strong. Across the galaxy, smaller species began sending messages directly to Earth. Not demands. Not accusations. Questions. Requests for alliance. Requests for technology exchange. Requests for protection agreements based on equality, not control. Human diplomats responded carefully. Every message was public. Every agreement transparent. They would not repeat the old system. Back above the Council capital, Admiral Reyes received the final authorization from Earth. Fleet withdrawal approved. One by one, Terran ships aligned for hyperspace jump. Before leaving, the Admiral sent one last transmission to the new assembly. Power without trust creates fear. Trust without truth creates weakness. Remember both. Then the fleet vanished into light. No occupation. No control. Just absence. And that absence said more than invasion ever could. Weeks passed. The new Galactic Assembly formed official reforms. Leadership rotated between species. Military authority required multi-world approval. Secret weapons were banned. It was not perfect. But it was honest. On a distant trade world, citizens gathered around public screens replaying the battle near Earth. They saw human ships disable rather than destroy. They saw the sun's spear shut down. They saw Terran fleets hold fire over the Council capital. An elder from a small outer colony spoke softly to a crowd. The Council believed humanity was dangerous because they were strong. But strength guided by principle is not danger. It is stability. The story of the war spread through schools, academies, and military training halls. It was not called a conquest. It was called the correction. Back on Earth, life returned to normal. Cities were busy. Ships traveled peacefully. But one thing had changed forever. Humanity was no longer seen as young or naive. They were seen as measured. As patient. As unwilling to accept lies. The fatal mistake of the Galactic Council was simple. They believed deception would control a species that values truth. They believed fear would silence a world that had survived worse. They believed humanity would react with anger. Instead, humanity reacted with discipline. And in the end, the galaxy did not remember the power of the Terran fleet. It remembered the moment humanity chose not to fire. Because that choice proved something greater than strength. It proved character. And from that day forward, no one in the stars ever mistook humanity for weak again.